Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Lewis Brown. Today is September 1st, 2022. Richard the Real at your service. You know, I did a video last night, a Facebook Live only. I didn't do a Zoom, I did a Facebook Live only, talking about AB 257, the Fast Recovery Act. We had a great conversation last night. As you know, on Labor Day, Governor Gavin Newsom signed that Fast Recovery Act. Fast food workers who work for restaurant chains that have 100 or more in the state of California, they're getting a 47% increase from $15 an hour up to $22 an hour. And we talked a lot about that. Now, I know some people say that's a good thing, and I told you last night, yes, we want everyone to have a substantial pay increase. But it's not going to work the way people think it's going to work. And I told people who had gone to college and graduated college in a degree in business or finance or marketing, accounting, that when you force a business to increase their wages for their employees, that doesn't come through the free market, that business passes that cost on to the consumer. That's what they're going to do. Now, someone went on Facebook and said, that does not have to happen. That person is correct. But it will. When have you seen a corporation turn down profits because their philosophy, what they're held accountable for, is to maximize shareholder wealth? Period. I didn't tell you last night. For those who are listening, and for those who watch this later, in the business school, you have business management, you have finance, you have accounting, you have marketing, you have, in some business schools, supply chain management, Arizona State University. All right? Why don't you have economics in the business school? Because economics is a pseudoscience. It's a liberal arts degree. Now, don't get it twisted. There's some very, very smart people with economics degrees, either at the bachelor's level, master's, or doctorates. A lot of people in banking, if they don't have a degree in finance, master's in finance, they'll have a degree in economics. But it's not a real science. And so what I mean by that, some things that happen on one day may not happen on another day. Economics. And to those who understand what I'm saying about that Fast Food Recovery Act 257, some economists tell you, let the free market dictate the cost of price of goods and services. Other economists will tell you, you need government intervention. Okay? And so there's a great conflict for all you smarty people in Local 1000. You're right. I'm telling you that McDonald's and Burger King and Carl's Jr., they're not about to take no profit loss. So the people that they're trying to help, they're being forced to help by giving them a pay increase from $15 an hour to $22 an hour. Those people are going to see that they still won't get ahead, because they're going to raise the cost of hamburgers at fast food restaurants. But not just at the big chains. Because when people have more money to spend, now the smaller restaurants can also increase their price for their food that they sell. And not only that, but your rent that you thought couldn't go up any higher, think again. Unless they put price controls on rent in the state of California. Do we have a socialist country or a capitalist country? It's a mixture of both. Do we do it better than all the other countries? It appears that we do. A lot of those countries in Europe are socialist countries. So when, quote, we send people over there to study their system on how they do things, That's a socialist country. They're not a capitalist country like us. Now, I see someone say bring them on video. If you want me to bring you on video on Facebook, because we're starting early here, then put a text in the notes on the Facebook comments, and I'll bring you on and I'll let you ask your question. So if you're serious about that, put it in the comments. Now, I'm talking about this again because it's an important issue. When I was elected president in May of 2021, it was announced on May 24th, people said that platform of mine, a 21% pay increase, was ludicrous. We couldn't get GO pay and COLA. Really? So the fast food workers with no union that we know of just got a 47% pay increase. 47. And they will get increases, yearly increases, up to 3.5% of the consumer price index. And the consumer price index sets the pace for your COLA for Social Security. Now, some of you say, we don't even get those type of good increases. You're right. Will these fast food workers now unionize? Possibly, if SEIU International has anything to say. Would that be a good thing for fast food workers to unionize? Well, yes. I'm pro-union. I'm pro-labor. But that's going to cut into that increase in profits. Increase in wages they pay per hour. Will they have a choice? Hard to say in the state of California. Because they won't be public sector unions, they'll be a private sector union if they, quote, unionize, and they'll fall under the National Labor Relations Board. Why is that important? Because SEIU International, what they try to do is go out and create unions or create locals that pay them money to help them carry out their political agenda. And their political agenda is the agenda of one particular party, one of the two major parties in America. This is not opinion, this is fact. So this is politics behind this. Do I want people to get substantial pay increases? Yes. Do I want them to be manipulated in the process? No. Why am I the only Local 1000 leader telling you this? Because I'm the only one that has the integrity, or some say the intelligence, to see through the madness. You say, well, our union isn't mad. Oh, yes it is. They can't even respect the will of voters when they elected me president. That's why they're trying to run me out of office right now. You say, well, tell us more about that. Well, I can't. I can't talk to you about the HR 1, the internal process, disciplinary process against a member to member. I can't tell you about the lawsuit that's been filed against me. My hands are tied. But I can tell you about a whole lot of other stuff. Because remember, you didn't even know about the trips to Israel that the former president took. You didn't know about the spa gift that was given to, quote, DLC President 786 Teresa Taylor. You didn't know about it until I came into office. You didn't know about the trip, the Disneyland trip, to the former Vice President of Bargaining, Margarita Maldonado. You didn't know about any of this. You say, well, how does this help us now? It helps you now because you know you have a leader who has the integrity to tell the truth. And this is why they're trying to run me out of office. Based on racism and politics. A mixture of both. The wedding gifts. So there's a great rumor that the Vice President of Bargaining, Irene Green, was given a wedding gift, and she married her husband off of Local 1000's money. Now look, I don't know if that's absolutely true. I don't know. So I won't slander her with that. I don't know if that's true or not, but people feel that it is. Here's what I do know. AB 257 is not what it's cracked up to be. We want people to be helped. We want people to get substantial pay increases so they can take care of their families. But we don't want them to be hustled and deceived and think that they're getting ahead, and when in all actuality, they won't get ahead. But let's talk about how it affects us. So the fast food workers get a 47% pay increase. And so McDonald's, Burger King, they raise their costs of their goods. And if your paycheck doesn't go up significantly, then guess who loses money? Not just the poor people, the working poor, or those working at McDonald's or these other fast food restaurants, but union represented employees will also lose. Rich people don't lose. Wealthy will never lose until God says they lose. These are the facts. I told you that economics is not a true science. That's a fact. Look it up. And I told you that some economists believe in the free market. Some economists said you need government intervention. And they clash. So give me a famous economist who believes in government intervention. I'll give you the name that you've heard. If I can say his last name correctly, he's at UC Berkeley. Robert Reich, if I'm saying his last name correctly. R-E-I-C-H, I believe. But other economists say no, let the free market reign. It appears that what Governor Gavin Newsom did for AB 257 was a righteous thing. That's what it appears. And there is righteousness to it. But the whole truth of the story is, this is about politics. This is to help build his resume to run for the White House. But people are not going to, quote, be able to change their lives off this increase for a no-skill job. It was brought to my attention last night that many of our represented employees of Local 1000 don't even make $22 an hour. From a multitude of different job classifications. Remember, we have over 730 different job classifications. Our salaries can go below $22 an hour, just at over $15 an hour, and go all the way up to, I think, the high, oh boy, I think it's $180,000, the senior actuary pension specialist. But we're not getting a 47% pay increase. Unless what? Then that leads into the next conversation, the email that went out today. Email says, we're fighting for you, Local 1000. Leadership tells you this. If leadership was fighting for you, they would first respect the vote of the people and not be trying to run me out of office off of meritless allegations if they were fighting for you. If they were fighting for you, they wouldn't have accepted that 50 and 25 when the members told them in 2 different surveys, we don't want $50 and $25 for telework. And that's before taxes. Before someone can say that to me. That's before taxes. So after taxes, you're taking home peanuts. And the membership told them that, but they did it anyway. Not with my blessing. They tell you they're fighting for you today for the essential worker premium pay. But these same people who are telling you this, you couldn't find them when we were doing that essential worker petition drive. The essential worker premium petition drive. Can they show you their petition that they signed? Were they part of the group that we took over those 17,000 petitions in February of this year? No, they can't show you that. Because they weren't supporting the president. They were trying to remove me from office. Any which way but loose. But now they tell you they're fighting for you. That's a lie. Now, they say they're trying to get a one-time payment of $6,000. Listen to the wording. Look at the wording. All eligible. What does that mean? I told you we were fighting for essential worker premium pay for everyone represented by Local 1000, period. I didn't put no eligible behind that. And I said, you have the money from your state surplus, not from the federal surplus, the federal money you're getting, but from state surplus. And when I was telling you that for months leading up to February, when we delivered 17,000 petitions to the governor's office, we didn't even know they had $100 billion that they acknowledged is going to be surplus in the budget. We didn't even know that. But God is good. They said the state tried to offer $15,000 to a smaller group, but we flexed. We stood up. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They didn't stand up for that 50 and 25. They just rolled right over and took what the state offered them. Hi, I see you. All right? So these emails you're sending out to convince you, to con you, to manipulate you, to deceive you, to make you think they're fighting for you when they won't even grieve your grievances. They say the bunk chairs is fighting for you. They listed the bunk chairs of 1, 4, and 21. Susan Rodriguez, Karen Jeffries, Bobby Dalton or Bobby Roy. That's what they want you to believe. I see you, Elizabeth. So that's what they want you to believe. This is why none of these Local 1000 so-called leaders will ever come on a video with me. Because the truth comes out. I don't have anything to hide, but they do. I see you too, Adriana. They have something to hide. And the biggest thing that they want to hide is that they don't have honorable intentions for you. They want to keep things the way they have always been. They don't want to create a new culture by eliminating political spending so we can unite our union, so we can grow the membership the way we were growing our membership when I was elected president. Because I wasn't giving favoritism to Democrats or Republicans or no political party. Because half our union are non-Democrats. I have said this to you repeatedly. Yes, corruption covers up corruption. Someone said, but Richard, why don't they want us to get a significant pay increase and get GO pay and COLA? I don't understand that. Because they tell you the state of California is your boss. They don't tell you that this is a 50-50 partnership. I'm the only Local 1000 leader who tells you these things. And then they wonder how I got elected. Now, someone says, well, if the price goes up on the food and the rent goes up, then more people will continue to move out of state. That's true. Someone says, well, there's a big conspiracy behind that. They want the price of everything in California to go up, so a lot of the middle class and the working poor leave the state of California. Then the wealthy and the rich can just buy up everything. And then they'll lower things back down to get you to come back, but you won't really be able to afford homes. You'll always be a renter. How do you know this? Listen to the words that Local 1000 uses, because I don't use these words. That's why they watch my videos and they try to figure out how they can take my words and use them without really being sincere. They tell you over and over and over again. This is a talking point of the Democratic Party. The Democrats. The party that I actually belong to. We need a strong livable wage. Livable wage. No, that's what poor people say. I'm just trying to live day to day. I'm just trying to survive. And that's how they want you to think, and that's how they want you to act. They don't want you to be able to put up money so you can put your kids through college, so you can put up money in case you have a medical emergency or a car emergency. No, they want you to go on a credit card and put yourself farther into debt. They don't tell you about financial discipline, so they tell you about living day to day. In fact, they tell you that so strongly that they question how I was able to campaign. Where's one of those brochures? Hold on a second here. How did Richard on an AGPA salary afford that type of brochure? Oh, by the way, it's union printed, by the way. Discipline. But they want you to work day to day. They want you saying livable wage. When's the last time you heard a CEO or anybody in the upper middle class or the rich tell you, well, we want a livable wage. We just want livable profits. They don't talk like that. Everyone knows about all the numbers they've run, about how the CEO's salaries, I don't know, 100, 200, 300%, or maybe even higher since the 70s. I can't remember the exact numbers. Okay? But you know, we all know numbers can be misconstrued. Fair enough. But what I'm telling you is this. When they're telling you they're fighting for a one-time payment of $6,000, is that all that you're worth? Is that all that you're worth? You say, well, Richard, what number would you fight for? I don't know. Maybe you take a survey with the membership and be transparent about it. Because I took the survey twice on the telework agreement, and they said, fight for $100 or more. And by the way, if we're ever denied telework, please make management justify, financially justify why they're denying us. Because we know a lot of people in the lower pay ranges and a lot of minorities get denied telework. And I know you guys don't want to hear about racism tonight in the state of California. Okay, you'll hear about it anyway. Because I can't change this skin that I'm in. I can't change the encounters I've had for 53 years of my life. Not 43, not 33, I'm 53. These are facts. And when I tell you that there was a plot, not a shenanigan, but a plot to remove me from office the day they announced on May 24th, 2021, that I was the president, stay tuned. Some of you have already heard it on video. It's not really a secret or anything. The April 20th video. But I'm going to go back to this money, because people like when I talk about money. And then I can tie everything in back to the money. $6,000 is all that you're worth during the COVID. $6,000. That's all that you're worth. $100 billion in surplus that they're telling you about. But the only thing you're worth is $6,000 for keeping the fourth largest economy on earth, not in America, but on earth, going uninterrupted. Everything kept running smoothly because of your hard work. Local 1000 represent employees, and not just them, but all the state employees. Let's give respect to management because they came to work too. Well, some of them. Let's not give too much respect. Some of them came to work. Some of them are really high quality people. A number of these managers are not. But then again, I get reminded in this union, there's a number of Local 1000 represent employees who happen to be dues paying members that they're not high quality either, Richard. Fair enough. But they're saying you're only worth $6,000. I don't remember a survey asking me how much I was worth. Have they told you the state of California is not your boss and this is a 50-50 partnership? Have they told you we're getting that 21% pay increase and not a dime less? Have they told you that? So someone is counting money right now. They're saying $6,000 is just 2 months rent in some cities. I can't debate that. I can't. Everyone should get an essential worker premium pay amount of money. And it should be substantial. Oh, well, wait a minute. Hold on, Richard. I got an idea. That's my best. Yes, you know what I'm saying. So, if you lost 2 days of pay for a whole year, what if they paid you back that 2 days of pay plus interest? How's that for a number? All you smarty people, someone do the math. How's that for being fair? Now, I didn't get a chance. I tell you, I do these videos unscripted, unrehearsed, unedited. I usually have something about idea what I'm going to say. I didn't really have a chance to think what I was going to say tonight. I thought I said it all last night. So I'm going fast and furious off the top. And I'm surprised someone on Facebook hasn't said, give us our 2 days of payback with interest. I'm sure that someone's put in the comments, oh, they're coming. Beat you to it this time. Yay. Okay, good. Now, some people say the 2 days of pay plus the interest ain't enough for that whole year. They want that respect. They want that dignity extra added on, that tip money. Maybe the $6,000 could be the tip money? Maybe? I want people to understand this. I was voted in a historic 5-person election. 5-person election. And remember, they said that the former president could never lose the election because she appointed the elections committee, and there's all this stuff about possible fraud in those elections. And I told people, stay positive, don't lose hope. Anybody can lose an election. Anybody. And people stay positive. And so what I'm asking you right now is to stay positive, that even though they're trying to remove me out of office and silence the voice of the membership. Let's go to the money for a second. And then I'm going to show you how politics and race all ties into this. I tell you, you're worth 21% pay increase, along with GO pay and COLA. You don't believe me because no one's ever given you that type of hope, that type of encouragement in this union. And they said Richard will never win an election. 2015, forget it. 2018, forget it. But somehow their math is off. Because my numbers kept going up. 600, 2015. 2,133, 2018. And then 2,637 in 21. Now, why do I have those numbers memorized? I don't know. I'm silly. But people were starting to believe in Local 1000, and that's why the vote was going up for me. Because they started to really believe that, yes, I am worth 21%. And many of you have told me, I didn't believe I was worth that much money. But my kids said I was. My spouse said I was. And because of that, and I said, how do you get that kind of money? After you bargain in good faith for a period of time, and we know the state of California, through its history of bad negotiating, won't bargain in good faith, we'll have to go on strike. Take a strike vote, and if it comes back yes, we'll go on strike. And we'll shut the 4th largest economy down. That kind of talk is the kind of talk that Dr. King was talking about. It wasn't just about racial, about getting black people's respect in the workplace, stopping segregated facilities, enhancing their voting abilities. He was talking about money. And because I'm talking about money and shutting this state down, and I'm not a white man, I don't get credit for it. Is this something new to me? No. Remember, I'm an Americanized African. What does that mean? As a black man in this country, I expect for people to throw the brick at me. College educated or not. They threw the brick at Malcolm X. They threw the brick at Dr. King. Some of you say they've thrown bricks with our interaction with the police. This is is why when I talk about the money and getting you paid this money and telling you that we have the integrity, we have the discipline to go on strike and shut this economy down and make U.S. history, I've gone too far. Well, it's too late. I said this years ago. So people say, Richard, please stop saying that. You scare people. Well, doggone it. I'm black. I automatically scare people. I'm mad. Let me start smiling and grinning. I automatically scare people because of the stereotype of when the enslaved African, particularly the males, were brought to this country. Anytime we stood up for ourselves, they said we were threatening. In my case, it's worse. Remember what I said? I said, if I was just fighting for black folks, saying, hey, you know what? Black lives matter too, and we ain't taking this no more. We're going to let these cops talk to us out of pocket. Woo, 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 woo. And I could go in the courtroom down here in Sacramento and say the N-word, and white folks would not even question me. They didn't even pay me a civil suit. If I was just shouting for black folks and had my pants sagging, gold in my grill, that's gold in my teeth, that would fit the stereotype. But I don't do that. If I acted like a highly educated, most dignified black man in this country, then I wouldn't care about you. Exception, President Obama. Okay? And a few other exceptions to other black men who actually do care. But no, let me tell you the problem that I have because of shutting down this money for the state of California with a strike. I'm not talking for black folks. And I'm going to say something really real tonight. I'm talking about white people. I'm fighting for white people. I'm fighting for whites. Black people, they don't value our life in America. No, they don't. If they valued our life in America, they would have never brought us over as slaves, as enslaved Africans. For those black people who say they're from the African diaspora. America has never valued its minorities. Just ask the Chinese. And so what I'm doing is I'm fighting for white people and then all the rest of us put together in this pot called California. That's my problem. And that's why they won't tolerate it. They want to keep us racially divided. And I'm trying to bring us together on money and respect in the workplace. When has Local 1000 told you, oh, we want to get a great contract? But they're not telling you a 21% pay increase and they refuse to take anything less. They're not telling you anything like that. Well, we'll see what we can do. Oh, whatever. Have they told you that 5.11, that dignity clause, that Cal HR will no longer be the final decision maker, that we can grieve this all the way up? Because so many of you have had your dignity robbed from you in the workplace. They haven't told you that, and they won't, because they have no intention on ever correcting that huge error in our contract. Have they told you words like reasonable, get it out of our contract? Have they told you, quote, we'll make every reasonable effort? Those types of phrases, they're ambiguous. Have they told you they're going to remove those phrases from the contract? You know, here's one phrase. It just came to me. Oh, well, you know, we'll make every attempt. Whatever. What does that mean? That's like a child telling you, well, Mom, I'm going to make every attempt to act right and not take those cookies out of the kitchen. I'm talking about myself, by the way. Good luck with that. Hold on. So Carl Camp says, I don't want you to represent me for any other reason other than being a state worker. You got that right. You got that right, Carl Camp. And they don't like that. I'm going to tell you why. Listen, Carl, I want you to hear this, because this is how I won the election. They told me, don't go up to Lassen County and fight for those jobs in Lassen County. None of these so-called leaders right now for Local 1000 was with me in Lassen County. Did they come to that Lassen County rally on August the 27th, 2021? Did they show up? Other than Annika Walls. She did show up and she spoke. So let's give her that respect on that. But these others did not. Those bunk chairs didn't show up. I didn't see Susan Rodriguez up there on that stand with me saying, we're going to fight for these jobs. They're under a signed contract. Why should they lose their jobs? You didn't see any of that from Susan Rodriguez or Karen Jeffries or Bobby Roy. But now they want to talk and say they're fighting for you. That's a lie. That's an absolute 1,000% lie. You say, well, Richard, can't they change? Yes, people can change. Unless that's how they were created, to create confusion. Some people, and this is the big storyline, some people are just created and you wonder, oh, so someone said Bobby Roy was cheering for the closure. I can't remember if he was actually cheering for the closure or not. I can't remember that exactly. But some people are just created to create confusion. Because we all got that auntie or uncle in our family. We love them. But you know when the family reunion shows up, here they come. You know you have that in your family. You have that person that's going to create confusion. You may have a person in your family that has a substance abuse problem or a mental illness, or they just lie. And you say, how did that arrive in my family? Well, you have some of that right here in Local 1000. People who just want to create confusion. And so when I tell you the reason why they're trying to remove me, it's racial and it's political. And together, what do you have? The status quo trying to protect their money. That's what you have. Now, some people believe, I see the comment, that they give up on us on the contract so they can just better suit themselves. I think there's truth, a lot of truth to that. We've been doing the same condescending, childlike contract for how many years? Too long to count. Remember when I told you the last time we had a cost of living adjustment, that's what they called it, was in the 2006 to 2008 contract. Now I want to say it came on July 1st, 2007. Why am I the only person that tells you this? Just go to my website, createexcellence7437.com. Createexcellence7437.com. And run through the tab and look for those old contracts. Yeah, I have like a research website. Thank you. Thank you. I'll keep fighting. Now, they think that they can break us. Break you, break me, we just go away, and then they can just continue to keep the status quo of the union. I'm asking you, text me 408-207-2339 and ask you how you can help me. I asked many of you, did you email Gavin Newsom? Text me, I'll give you his email. His personal email. Did you email all these DLC presidents and bunk chairs? You don't have their email? Text me. I'll get it to you. They say we're a member, make sure I get it right for all you smarty people, a member run union, not a member ran, but a member run. Member ran, member run, whatever. We're supposed to be a member union. Some people say, no, we are a board of directors run union. That's a great point. Some people say that we are a board of directors run union, not a member run union. So the board of directors say, well, we're representatives of our members. Richard, it's really no different than our democratic society. We don't have a true democracy in America. We have a democratic republic. I'm pausing for a second because I know what I'm talking about. So many people say that we're a corrupt run union. That's correct. All that credit card deceit, Did I put up? Because they said that I was the one that was out of control because I was taking my shirts to get them starched up. They said, oh, he's out of control. I'm spending $50, $75 to have my clothes starched up so I can present a professional image for the largest public sector union in the state of California. And they said, don't do that. Are you kidding me? But yet, here they are with your money, wilding out, going to Israel. I'm pro-Israel and I'm pro-Palestine. Make sure I say that clearly. I am pro-Israel and pro-Palestine. Not getting involved in Ishmael and Isaac's arguments. Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not getting between those two brothers. They wilding out, going to Napa. You imagine if I had taken your money as the Local 1000 president and sent somebody to Napa to the gift, as a gift to the resort. If I had gone to Disneyland myself, you would have lost your natural born mind. You wouldn't have had that. But they did that in the past. Did the board say anything? Oh, the board didn't say a word. Because the former president never challenged the status quo. She spent money in politics the way she was told to spend money in politics. She did as she was told. I'm not saying that in a negative fashion. I'm not saying that in a positive fashion. I'm just telling you a factual statement. She didn't suffer them trying to run her out of office either. Let's acknowledge that. But when you rock the status quo in this country and you go against politics, you're going to have a problem. Don't be black and try it. It'll get a lot worse. All right, so here we go. Today is September 7th, 2020. September 7th, 2022. I'm Richard Lewis Brown. I'm giving it to you real tonight. We have some people already on Zoom. I've been on Facebook. I've been talking about AB 257 and how it appears that it's going to help people, but in all actuality, it's not. And the email that went out today saying that they're fighting to get you $6,000 one-time payment ain't enough money. I said that could be used as tip money. What about paying back people those 2 days of pay they lost plus interest and let the $6,000 be a tip to say how much the governor loves you and he's so labor friendly. And by the way, the governor's running for re-election. He needs your vote. So I tried to wrap that up as quickly as I could. And I'm trying to show people that racism and politics together is trying to protect the status quo of Local 1000, which is the money. All right. So the people on Zoom, I know one person said he wanted to come on tonight. He had some things to say. Sir, whether it's the first gentleman or the second gentleman on Zoom, feel free.
So I just want to, you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
But first, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. You made a lot of good points, and it was just before the podcast, and also at the points while you were talking, I was kind of looking over the highlights of that 257. So just to be clear, you are against 257?
Okay, so what this gentleman on Zoom said is he wanted to be clear. Was I against AB 257? So let me be clear. I am not against no one trying to get a substantial pay increase. And I'm not against fast food workers being unionized because I'm pro-labor. I am not against that. What I did say is they're thinking this is going to help them, and it's not. That's what I'm trying to say. And let me be clear when I say that.
Okay. The reason I ask is I know Bill doesn't just cover wages, covers working conditions, health and safety. So it covers a number of areas that I'm personally in support of.
Okay.
Because no worker should have their personal safety or their health jeopardized as a result of going into work. So in that regard, just also, I don't know if you know this about me, I'm not a fan of Newsom. However, he has done some good things in the past for public workers and for Californians in general. So, like I said, these are really challenging times financially for a lot of Californians, and it's really important that the governor leverage this $90+ million surplus, or do whatever he can, do whatever that's within his power to make it so people can can survive. So to that extent, I do support 257. There are some other bills that, they're like, for example, shortening the work week. There was a bill that the 4-day work week bill. I don't recall the bill number, but there was one bill where the state legislature was considering shortening the work week. Not public workers, but for just workers in general, private sector workers, shortening the work week 4 days a week. You know which bill I'm talking about?
No, sir, I don't know. So everybody on Facebook, I'll repeat what you said in case they can't hear you on Facebook, and then I'll go back to you, sir. The gentleman on Zoom said he's not a fan of Newsom. However, he thinks Governor Newsom has done some good things. And he said that AB 257 talked about not just wages, but also personal health and safety in the workplace. And now he's talking about a shorter work week. Go ahead, sir.
No, that was pretty much it. I just want to make that point. I thought that bill that was going to shorten the work week was a bad idea. I think there has to be limited only. The state government should be telling private sector employers when they can employ their workers. So that's one area where I'm pretty concerned, and also the state legislature. But I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, so I want to go back. I'm talking as loud as I can. I see someone said they can't hear. My volume is turned up loud on my laptop and on my phone. I'm talking as loud as I possibly can. So I'm doing the very best that I can. So the gentleman was talking about the wages of personal health regarding the AB 257, the Fast Recovery Act, and how I had talked about the $22 going from $15 to $22. And he asked me, was I familiar with the shorter work week? I was not familiar with that. So before anyone can say this, he said that he wasn't a fan of Newsom, but he thinks that Newsom did some good things. Let me give you my opinion on Governor Newsom. Factually, the man was born into wealth. He was born on third base. That's a fact. I have said that he's a handsome man. Some women have told me I'm incorrect. Women call the shots on that. I fall back. I'm not insecure about myself, but he's tall and he has the voice and the hair. To me, women like that, but some women say they don't like that. Okay, but let's get to something about personal health. Many of you have said this governor didn't care about your personal health because state agencies are still forcing people to come to work during COVID. So 50% of our union says, hey, get vaccinated. 50% says don't get vaccinated. Okay, but we know how the governor felt. So when you say about personal health, I'm not so sure that Governor Gavin Newsom is an expert in that area. Third point, he's trying to take jobs away while we're under a signed contract behind those prison walls. One prison in particular, California Correctional Center in Susanville in Lassen County. He stopped that inmate firefighter program that was the #1 firefighter program in America. Oh yes. And just go on the CC page. Keep CC open on Facebook and just ask some questions. You'll get an earful.
What was the reason he gave for shutting down that program, do you know?
He didn't give a reason other than they didn't need to do it. And he did it right before firefighter season. And this is why I'm saying those people in Susanville, let them educate you. Don't take it from me, because they are very emotional and sensitive about that issue. Because they said those firefighters, those inmates, were doing a hellacious job. And some of those inmates, when they got out of prison, was being hired, even though they had a felony on their record. It's an amazing program.
I suspect firefighters had something to do with that.
No, they did not. Oh, no.
Okay.
No. The firefighters union won't say it openly because they want to play politics. And maybe that president ain't being run out of office either. So no, that's not the truth of that. Another point about Governor Gavin Newsom. He says he's for the people. He's a man of the people. He's going to run for the White House or he get that U.S. Senate seat for California when it becomes open. If he cared so much about the people, and he was so much for social justice, racial justice, really? Then why wasn't Juneteenth awarded when it was awarded by the federal government in 21? I believe it was in May of 2021. He didn't come down and say, look, I know it's not in the union contracts. I think this is the right thing to do. Let's do a side letter and make it permanent. Juneteenth. Because we're California, we lead by example. We're going to meet the moment. That's an easy victory. Easy victory. I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you, if he had awarded Juneteenth, boy, that would have went over, would have shut my mouth down. I would have had to say, but I'm sensitive over that type of racial issue because we know Dr. King, that's a holiday because he inspired not just the black community, but he inspired all the communities, not just in America, but across the world. So that's a holiday that we all share together, that we all are created equal in God's eyes. But that Juneteenth, that's a little strong. But I wanted to bring these things up on this governor because he's getting a free pass. Some politicians get free passes, some don't. But before someone on Facebook can say, why didn't Richard tell the gentleman on Zoom that stuff he's been talking about all along? And so I want to take my time and say that. Let me read you this comment, sir. This person says, as a wife of a firefighter, it was a slap in their face. Also to the inmates that would rather be in camp than in prison. They can get out and get a state job with CAL FIRE. I'm trying to go through if any more spouses or people at CCC are watching right now. Okay. All right. So if you want to come back on and make more comments or questions, sir, feel free. So I'm going to go to the next gentleman. Sir, go ahead.
Hey, Richard. Can you hear me here?
Yes, loud and clear.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing okay.
Okay. Hey, maybe I'll just chime in real quickly on the firefighting thing that you were talking about that. I would think we got to be away from like the that program because I think what a lot of people were concerned about was how little inmates were making for being a part of that program. They were making like I thought I heard the media saying like $1, $2 a day or something like that. Why not create a little bank for each of those inmates? They have a next bank themselves. I think you should definitely put those back on the team when they do get back to the general public again.
So wait, hold that thought. Hold that thought. I want to say it back. I want to say it back on Facebook so people on Facebook can make comments. Now that you continue. So the gentleman said, "How can we do a win-win with the firefighter inmate program?" He said, "What about create a piggy bank to where they can make some money so that when they get out, they can get back on their feet again?" Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. I mean that was actually something that popped in my head. But I'll go ahead and circle back a little.
Okay.
Maybe you guys were talking about.
Okay.
That myself, just to kind of make sure I get understanding of how that's going to work. And the one thing that stands out to me that kind of caught my eye as I was looking at Stevens' description of that is that it's going to create this, basically like a big council, like a council of people from who are franchisers, 2 representative franchisers, 2 are franchisees. So franchisers is kind of like the McDonald's corporate, the franchisees. Those are the folks who own the individual like McDonald's restaurants. That I mean that's right. You know how that works. That sounds right. Yeah. Then you've got 2 people who employees. And then two of them are government representatives. We have one person from the Department of Industrial Relations. And side note, I'm actually trying to get a job in that team. I just market myself. They're real important because they're kind of the ground force of folks who are enforcing OSHA requirements throughout all our workplaces. So I would hope they would be advocating for workers. And then you have a representative from the governor's office of economic development.
So wait. Hold on 1 second. Because someone said they can't hear you. So on Facebook, what this gentleman is saying is this AB 257 created this I think it's called the Fast Recovery Council. It's a mixture of different people to be part of this council to make decisions. Go ahead, sir.
So anyway, my kind of assessment of that is that really turns into, I feel like workers losing a lot of the power because they can no longer stand up for themselves. They're basically counting on a few people up in the government to advocate on their behalf. And it depends on who ends up going into the position. It looks like it's sort of drawn sort of half and half. You kind of have half people that you know people after can't predict it, and then they're going to try to hash out and come up with something that's reasonable. But I don't know. It's kind of like a big question mark as to where this will go. I guess I can think about a little bit more detail where that might go, but you could end up just be kind of a stalemate and maybe find a little adjustment in wages. I'd rather stick to those. Let the workers organize, let them control the paper if they need to, let them put power that way, and to just put it in the hands of some government representatives who can be in charge. And that's, to be completely honest with you, that's the way union works too. Instead of workers being able to hold that power themselves and determine their fate, they're kind of handing it up to the union bureaucrats to make those decisions as to how they're going to fight for their contract. So I myself was an advocate of bring the power down to the workers, let them decide what they're being used, let them organize, give workers the power back. That's what's been lost, I think, a lot of this. So do you have any thoughts on that?
So wait, wait. No, hold on, Luke. So I didn't mean to say your name. So
No, that's fine. You're fine.
I want everyone on Facebook to hear what he just said, because I was focused on the money. But he said the second part of this situation. He believes that workers, these fast food workers, will lose their ability to organize themselves and speak for themselves versus this quote Fast Recovery Council. It looks like some type of government entity that's being created that's going to talk for them, or they could unionize, and then a union could be its bureaucracy and talk for them, which could be similar to Local 1000.
I think what's happened is I think a fair bit of study of the union days in general. It's kind of gone from this place of workers really having a lot of power and determining what the union is going to do to now a place today where it's sort of like hands-off. It's kind of let the union decide what we're going to do. We're going to stick to the same direction here for our contract. It really stifles innovation and people really coming up with some new, innovative, or radical ideas to try to make change to our work conditions and benefits. So, kind of got a lot of different directions. But, yeah, so that's a little bit of what I've looked at. I guess just going on in terms of the other points. Oh, and then also, you're making this fast workers soul free. So you're kind of creating a vision by doing this because this is really only going to affect a certain slice of workers, the fast workers. What about all your other non-fast workers that are part of the wage? Are they going to get benefits from that? A lot of people think, well, some people's wages go up, that's going to trickle over to other folks too. But
So
you're starting to create more divisions because
All right, so hold on a second. Hold on a second. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I want to go to your second point. You said that workers, in a sense, if they're not careful, could let unions decide what's best, and that by doing this, they will lose their innovative, radical ideas and their ability to really represent themselves versus having somebody else try to represent them. That's a great, great point. And then you go to your third point. What about all the other people outside the fast food industry who are low wage? Should they also, quote, get a pay increase? Do they need to have someone speak for them? Will a union be created for them? Will a union try to represent these other people? Is it possible that this is a strategy, a long-term strategy to where you can, quote, unionize, I don't know, 80 to 90% of the labor force in California? And so then you've basically taken away their voice, their individual voices. Could that be a strategy of SEIU International so they can collect more money and create more locals so they can basically control the workforce in California?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of two paths you can go down. You can have a democratic process where workers really have a say in how we're going to move forward, what we're going to fight for, or you can have a non where you're electing people that you don't really know what they stand for and not a transparent system as to what they will or won't do. That's where I kind of have
So,
challenge with our union local 1000. It's not very well organized. We just have a hard time understanding where are we going, what are we trying to achieve. With that ends up sort of leading us down a path of I don't think the membership really knows where we're going.
so everybody, hold on 1 second, hold on. Everybody on Facebook. He said something. Is the possibility of AB 257 going to challenge the democratic process of the workers having a voice for themselves versus just electing people who really don't represent the workers, which could be parallel to what's going on here in Local 1000, excluding me, because I know I represent the people. I am the people's president. So I want people on Facebook to hear what this gentleman is saying here on Zoom. So go ahead, sir.
So I guess maybe the other thing I'll add into is I was concerned too that the max that you can that has been put in place with that legislation is $22 an hour cap. I kind of try to keep myself pretty close on the numbers in terms of what a living wage is for California, which is extraordinarily high compared to the rest of the country. I mean, and I tend to look at the highest cost of living in California, which I think most people would agree is San Francisco. To make a living wage, I know you have people have different ideas of living wage, and I know Richard, you got a little different opinion on that, or just different thoughts on it. But based on the resources that I look at regularly, for somebody living on their own in San Francisco County, living wage is $30.81 an hour.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, wait. I want to repeat that. Hey, Luke, wait. I want to repeat that on Facebook because they can't hear you on Facebook, so I want to make sure I'm saying what you're saying on Facebook so they can respond.
Okay.
Luke said on that AB 257, the max is $22 an hour at the cap from going from 15 up to 22. I say 22 because that will happen. Then he also talked about the living wage. And he said, I have a different opinion on the living wage. And he stated that the living wage in San Francisco is $30 an hour. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Living on your own.
Living on your own in San Francisco.
That's basically like in a one-bedroom apartment on your own. Now, once you start thinking about having independence, the cost goes even higher. And obviously, most of us are thinking about going to lower family housing. So the next number there for San Francisco, which is completely bonkers. I mean, is one child with one resident who's that wage at $60 for the hour in the county of San Francisco.
So he said one child, hold on. He said one child in San Francisco, if you're raising one child in San Francisco, your living wage is $60 an hour. Go ahead. Okay.
So, that just begs the question, like, it's really going to be sufficient. And I know there are people who will kind of come out and chat about this so quickly over text, which you're just about. Like, you have to talk and think about the other parts of the economy that are going to be affected in large increases in wages, and they have other things that we have to think about too. But in terms of where we sit right now, those are some high costs. A lot of that comes from very high costs of housing. So essentially, and the term I like to use that comes from my political work is that a lot of legislation that folks come up with is save people that person was kind of instrumental in his work down in San Diego and all of this other shit. It's essentially putting a straitjacket on workers because they're kind of filed into this strict path. Okay, we're going to give you something, but it's only that you can only let it go so far. Once it gets there, yeah, I guess there's CPI and 3.5% or up by year, but these workers are just way behind what they need. And then of course that leads into the reason I think that so many of folks in the business community are really worried about this going through too, is that then you start to have all the other folks in other industries like public employees, Local 1000 saying, hey, these folks are getting a raise. We have Local 1000 has thousands employees who are well under the numbers that I mentioned here. So that's where you start to see some concern come over the eyes of the people. They're worried to snowball, which of course we want. We want that increased wages and the business community wants to fight tooth and nail. I remember seeing quite a few ads come up on my Instagram feed about voting. I think it comes from National Association of Restaurants. They're one of the biggest donors to definitely all political strikes of the California beach. They know they're working on it. They've got a great deal right now. They can pay their folks poverty wages and continue to reap great profits for both franchisees and the big corporations franchise. I don't think the franchisees do quite as well, but the corporations making it. So that leaves me I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Like, I like some ideas about it to help people understand where we are, where we need to go, but will we go far enough? I don't know.
Okay, thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
Let me summarize what he just said, because I've been summarizing every few minutes what he's saying, in case you can't hear him on Facebook. He says basically is $22 an hour really sufficient? He says it's kind of like putting a straitjacket on workers, which is what I've been saying. Even with $22 an hour, that you're going to force companies to pay, these people still won't get ahead. It's not really enough money, especially if you cannot stop the rise or the cost of goods and services. So he said, when you put a cap on the goods and services of a company, Richard, then you run into a socialist country. That's correct. But in the same hand, you say, we're a capitalist country, and we are. But when does capitalism run amok? When does paying the CEO of a company 2 to 3 times what that employee of that company is getting paid?
400 times.
I'm sorry, you're correct. Let me repeat that because the person on the Zoom just reminded me. Not 2 to 3 times, 400 times. 400 times. And I said that, the wealth of the top 1% is what? I don't have it memorized in my head. But it's ridiculous. So in other words, if you have enough money to where you don't have any debt, you can pay your utility bills every month, and you can have money in savings for a rainy day, medical emergency, car breakdown, and you have some money you can put up to put your kids through college, and you have money to go out and eat once or twice a week, possibly, take vacations scheduled every year. Does that require $1 billion or $100 billion? When is enough enough? And this is when you find out about people's righteousness. People say, well, don't talk about that. How much money is enough money to you for you to live on and to pass on to your family when you pass away, that they can live comfortably? See, these are the kind of questions that Local 1000 doesn't really talk to you about. Because I can tell you, if you ask me personally, how many people in Local 1000 are living paycheck to paycheck, I'd say 2 out of 3.
Is that high?
I think it is that high. I do. Now, for those who are financially disciplined in Local 1000, that number, in my personal opinion, sir, is no different than those who are financially disciplined across America. And I'm going to say that's 10%. Now that I feel good about saying. In fact, they tell you that most Americans are in debt. Period. Now that's facts. And I don't think it's just from the, quote, view of those from the Democratic Party, Democrats. I think the Republicans would say the same thing. I think that'd be a universal truth. They don't teach financial discipline in this country. No, they don't. Trust me, they don't teach you that. This union has never taught you about financial discipline. I was going to start talking about it leading up to a strike. What they tell you is, don't save your money because the rate of inflation will go higher than the interest you make off of the savings account. So they tell you to invest your money. You invest your money in the 401k. When the 401k goes belly up, you lose too, because you don't have the financial discipline to ride the wave, to ride the ups and downs of a 401k. This is why I'm so actively involved in, quote, the labor movement, because a pension is not subject to the rise and fall of the stock market. This is why when I talk about money, this is another reason why they want me out of here. Because I'm telling you facts. I'm not telling you no opinion. How many people in Local 1000 are living check to check? Too many to count. But they're not going to get on Facebook and tell you. They're embarrassed. How many people lost money because our union refused to go on strike and shut this state down during the great furlough fiasco? Too many.
Wait, Richard, because you're on the one hand suggesting that union members go on strike, but on the one hand, you are really aware that a lot of workers would be severely financially impacted by such a shutdown. So I sense your passion for it. A strike is one way to get your point across to leadership, but a lot of people, based on your own positions, will be out of your opinion. If you believe the severity of what you're saying, is severely impacted by that. So that's just something to keep in mind as far as a lot of people, like I said, they're living paycheck to paycheck, and they're not working across the picket line. They're going to see a significant change in the quality of their life. So I just want to add that out.
Wait, hold on. Sir, fantastic. We on point tonight. We on point tonight. I got some people on here tonight. Listen to this. Everyone on Facebook, he says, on one hand, Richard, you're saying we have to go on strike to get a substantial pay increase, but on the other hand, you're saying that state employees are living paycheck to paycheck. So how can they go on strike if they're living paycheck to paycheck? That's a great argument. Why did nobody ever argue this with me when I was campaigning? Let me tell you why, sir. Because they would have lost the argument. You show me a situation where great things were achieved without a great sacrifice. You can't. How did those workers, those people down in the South years ago, when they said, hey, we're not riding the bus, even though we don't make enough money, we're not riding the bus. we're going to take this fight to these people down south. And they did, and they won. So if you don't have the courage of your convictions to say, I'm going to make the ultimate sacrifice, not just for me and my family, but for future state employees, for future generations, to show that even though I'm living check to check, it doesn't matter. My dignity matters more than that money. And I'm willing to make the sacrifice even though financially I can't. And how many times have we heard our parents say, I can't financially afford to do these things for you, but I did them anyway? How many times have we heard that story? Too many to count. So you have to reach a point to where you say, even though I can't financially afford to do this, somehow, some way, through a positive attitude or through my belief in a higher power, the money will be okay.
Well,
Yes, sir.
there are other alternatives besides striking.
Okay.
Another idea that doesn't seem to be getting much attention is
Yes, sir.
increasing the level of representation. Because right now we have a system where elected officials are basically bought and sold. Their companies are paid for by special interests. As a result, they're beholden to these corporations and these special interest groups. Why not increase the level of representation? I did a podcast on this about 2 or 3 months ago, where I interviewed this gentleman. That's really the whole point, the whole focus of this project is to, and let me explain what I mean by representation. Like, for example, like in Sutton County, where the population is just over 1.5 million, look at the number of legislators that each citizen has. I mean, look at the ratio. It's like over 100,000 to 1. And there's no way for elected officials to be able to effectively respond to the needs of their electorate. So that's another. I mean, if we had better representation, I mean, that would, well, this will be diminishing the financial effectiveness of special organizations, the ultra-rich, as far as their ability to buy elected officials, pay their campaigns, control the narrative of bills coming out of the state legislature. And also, I think a lot of legislators, if they had more confidence that their positions would support them, I think they'll be more likely to take really bold positions as far as championing policies that are more beneficial to the working class. Does that kind of make sense?
No, you make a great, everyone on Facebook, he says, what about if we increase representation? That could help us versus going on strike. Let me respond to that. How can you increase representation and think that's going to work better for you when Local 1000 won't even respect members' voices when they voted me as president and they're trying to remove me as their #1 representative? So how can you even say that?
No, I'm talking about not just with me. I'm talking about like in the private sector, just like in California, it's like in general, like increase the level of representation between Californians and the people in the state legislature. So I want to hear from Mr. Cerner. Mr. Cerner, what are your thoughts on my proposal?
No, I think those are good ideas. I think we constantly have to find ways to wrestle back our voice in the political system. As far as my politics are concerned, I kind of had that fear with the conventional political system. So I'm more now positioning kind of a path into that system and maybe more radical ways of being control and putting workers in control of decisions regarding society. That's what binds many of us together is the fact that when you think about the number of workers across the world, people compared to a capitalist class is nowhere near that size. So I think that really the power that comes from workers in control, and that's kind of what I said earlier. But,
Right.
in terms of kind of like local training background, the union, well, let me just go to the side real quick.
No, wait, hold on, wait. No, wait, hold on a second. Wait a minute. before you go into that, I see Yolanda Williams with her hand raised. I want her to talk, and then I want to say a quick little bit, and then I'll come back to you. Everyone on Facebook, one gentleman asked the other gentleman about increasing representation and how he felt about that. And he quickly responded by saying, we have to get it back to the workers, or to, the voters would have more say in what's going on. So go ahead, Yolanda.
Good evening, sisters and brothers. Well, I want to say that it sounds good, Mr. Sanders, but I'm like Luke. We got to scrap. It's time to do something. It's time to stand up. And we lost 2 days of pay, and I was struggling. So if I can struggle with 2 days, I can struggle a little bit more and make sure that I get 21%. Real talk. So that's where I'm at with that. So it is definitely, we need to do something more radical, because the other way sounds good, but it takes too long. You talk about people going paycheck to paycheck. Man, trying to vote people in and make sure they're going to do the right thing when they get in and all that. Nah. We need to do what we need to do. Try to see if they're going to work with us, just like President Brown said. And if they don't, let's go and do what we got to do and strike. Period. Well, that's all I got to say right now.
Wow, that's the fastest I've ever seen Yolanda talk. All right, so let me say this, and I'll try to talk as fast as she did. You talk about increasing representation, and then the other gentleman is talking about, getting voters more, I would say, responsibility, or more play, more impact on the decisions being made. My entire 10-point platform addresses that. See, when I said to let everyone vote in this union, whether they paid money or not, because some people are financially struggling, because you shouldn't have to pay in this great country to vote, you would have thought I was saying heresy, speaking heresy. I talked about creating a 2-term limit so you could get more people involved, you get more people represented, more people with voices in our union, and you didn't have to be a steward to be a leader. My entire 10-point platform addresses that. And then, because of that, and because of what the other gentleman said along with Yolanda, that platform, it ain't just radical, it's revolutionary. And what it did, that revolutionary war that I started, is now turned into a civil war in this union. I'm sorry, go ahead, Luke.
I was hoping too that other than like sort of having to take down the children to go on strike, we do have another option available to help us go when we do go on strike. And I'm sure you're making sure that that's part of your 10-point plan too, is making sure we have a healthy and the most important thing, accessible strike fund. Right now we're dealing with this silly craziness and policy files where it's like you got to go through. Think about being able to use the strike fund. And what is the most important? I think that's my opinion. The most important thing I do for it is ensuring that when we do hold our labor, we have something going on. So I know I was in the for a little bit, heard a little bit about the numbers rolling around and what's in our big bank right now, but I think it's a pretty healthy amount. I mean, obviously we gotta have a serious talk about what we can and can't give people, but I don't know, maybe we need to also find a way to make it progressively, or maybe those who are having a hard time the most out of it, while those who are a little higher up on the wage, try to give a little bit more to those who are going to have the hardest time like we do.
So let me say this real quick on Facebook. Let me say this real quick on Facebook, because he beat me to it. So the gentleman on Zoom has reminded me of my 10-point platform, the strike fund. And it's, point number 9, create and use a strike fund to support lengthy contract negotiations. Remember, we were trying to raise a strike fund between 18 to 25 million. You have not heard leadership saying anything about that strike fund because they don't have any intention of ever going on strike. A union's only leverage is its ability to withdraw its services or its products that it makes. Period. Now that's my personal opinion. Other people say you can leverage by working with politicians. I say wrong answer. Absolutely wrong answer. How many times do politicians have to take from you or threaten to take from you until you catch on? How many times? I'm going to say something tonight that no one's ever heard me say before. This is how I find out who's listening to my videos. You guys realize that SEIU International is on the hook for the strike fund as well. Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, I know you didn't know. Let me say it for you again at 7:14. 7:14 and 7 is 21. SEIU International is on the hook to pay some of that strike fund too, and they know it. And they have no intention on honoring their responsibility, their legal responsibility, the same way Local 1000 has no desire to fully indemnify me as the Local 1000 president. You got that right. Another shoe just dropped. And that's why I tell people, watch my videos in the beginning. Watch some in the middle. Watch some at the end. And then even between those, the first, the middle, and the end, I'm going to throw some hooks in there. You're going to say, well, he says the same thing on every video. That's an absolute lie. But then again, when I do repeat messaging, so you can understand what I'm talking about, you say, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But you'll sit there and watch TV all day and all night and see repeat pharmaceutical commercials. And you don't say anything to them. You don't question that. I'm sorry. But the questions tonight, gentlemen, and Yolanda, you're razor sharp, and you're making me dig in and clarify and be stronger in my answers. I have no problem doing that. I have no problem having intellectual conversations. But here's what I will say. Intellectual conversations are great. But reality tells us a little something different when it's time to go into action. And sometimes intellectual conversations are hard to apply. Those theories are hard to apply. But what we do know is this: nothing comes easy in this great country. No great accomplishment comes without great sacrifice. You can't get around this. You got to put the work in. You have to put the work in. You have to make the sacrifice. And I know both of you gentlemen have made sacrifices in your life when other people were not willing to make the sacrifices that both of you made, along with Yolanda. And that's why you have this level of professionalism and dignity and strength about you. And all I've tried to do in Local 1000 is motivate people to say, we can overcome all obstacles and get a substantial pay increase and get dignity in the workplace and get these bad behaving, egotistical, self-serving, not all management, but some managers, get them off your back. Because you are paying money to the union. What is your rate of return for the money you're paying to this union? And many of you have said, I am not getting a rate of return. Why pay money? And I'm doing everything that I can to get my position back, retain my presidential powers, and show you how a real labor leader works. There ain't no breaks. And when they go to these work sites, they're just copying me, trying to spread propaganda about why they had to remove me, which is why they won't do videos at the work sites, so that you don't know what they're telling these people at the work sites about the union, about me. Because if it was on video, I could catch them in their lies. When I go to work sites, I do videos, unscripted, unedited, and I get challenged. And I don't mind the challenge because I'm coming on righteous ground. And this is why these so-called, some of these leaders will never do a video with me. Because they don't want to tell the truth. because they've been lying for years. Because that's the culture of this union. So when someone says on Facebook, our union is corrupt, yes, we have some things that have happened in our union that were corrupt, that were highly questionable. The trip to Israel, the Napa resort, the Walt Disney trip. And those are the ones that we caught. And you only caught that, you only know about that, because they were trying to say that I was spending money wrongly. It would have never came out if they had never questioned me about the credit cards. But this is how God works. You get more than you ask for. Trust me, I know that very well. So when we have these great conversations, sometimes intellect won't get you there. I know a lot of smart people. But when it's raining outside and I call you and say, hey, come get you, a lot of times the intellectuals with their smart conversations don't show up. Now, someone just put on Facebook, what about the SEIU state president getting caught not paying taxes? So I believe that is referring to the SEIU state council, former executive director. They were accusing her of not paying taxes. She hasn't had her day in court yet. That hasn't been resolved yet. Let's not be quick to judge our labor sisters and brothers. See, this is how you find out who's really with you and who's not. See, a lot of people judged her really quickly and they dismissed her really quickly before she had her day in court. We can't do that. Let's let this process play out. Because if we quickly judge her, all these allegations they made about me, other people are quickly judging me and saying, get rid of him. I'm not a hypocrite. We want people to have their day in court. Let's let that play out for her. Let's let that system play out. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Yolanda Williams.
Okay, I want to talk about the essential premium pay, because they're giving everybody, increases, like you say, 82, 57, whatever it is, an increase in their salary. But what about us? What about the state workers? We kept on working through the pandemic and still working because we still in pandemic. What about us?
So everyone,
All these signatures to Gavin Newsom, the one who still haven't recognized Juneteenth, and I've tweeted it and all kinds of stuff, emails them and stuff, still just ignore people who work for the state, just ignore them. So, but yet, as soon as he wants some money, who he pull from? The state employee. So something ain't right here, and people need to stand up and do something and stop sitting back and I gotta have my money and stick together with other people and you'll get more money. How about that? How about that? Yeah, I'm just saying they going around to the different job sites trying to get money, trying to get more members. And one time trying to say, well, we really trying to get this essential premium pay. They said nothing more about it. Because they're not trying.
so
But President Trump was trying. He actually did it for several months and then took the things in February. All signatures. But yet still, the governor is not listening to us. That's why as people on Facebook and everywhere else in the state, we need to just continue to make noise about that. Otherwise, we won't get the money because we give it everywhere. Oh, let's go give money to this group of people, and let's go give people these loans, Bachelor of Science loans, and all this other stuff. Really? Are you serious? When you got people, as the other guy said, struggling because you don't have a good wage to live off of? Really? It's unreal. People need to stand up and do something. Because I am.
so
That's all I got to say.
So Yolanda,
Yeah.
earlier in the conversation you came on a little late. I talked about the email that went out today, and Local 1000 leadership claimed they're fighting for the essential worker premium pay, $6,000 for all of us, but there's a catch to it saying eligible. So who's eligible, who's not, who's to say? Second thing is, they said the state offered $1,500 to a smaller group. Okay, and I came out and said that they're not fighting for the essential worker premium pay, that these some of these so-called Local 1000 leaders did not sign not one essential worker premium pay petition. And so let me give you your shout out right now, like the way I've always have done. The reason why we were able to get 17,000 essential worker premium pay petitions, because Yolanda Williams made noise and got at me twice and said, "What are you doing?" And that's why they got done. That's why they got done. And when I've asked her to do things, she's done it. So when she talks, and she talks with passion, she is not pretending like some of our leaders are pretending to do.
And, oh, wait a second.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I wasn't here in the earlier on. I got on a little late, but
Okay.
what, 6,000, and then it depends on eligibility. There should be no eligibility. We all won. That's what you need to stand on. It should be very easy, very easy, with that type of money in the budget. Give everybody a nice amount of lump sum for that working.
So let me say,
You know what?
hold on. So everyone on Facebook, Yolanda said we are all one. What she's referring to is when Governor Newsom said with the pandemic when it came out, we're all, we're all in this together. That's what he said, we're all in this together. Let's meet the moment. That's what she's referring to. Second thing, Yolanda, I said that 6,000 should be tip money. What about those 2 days of pay you lost for a whole year? What about taking those 2 days of pay for a whole year, putting some interest on it, and then let the 6,000 be a tip? How's that to start off? And where was the surveys?
That's the way it started off. I was trying to figure out what formula they're coming by to figure out what they're going to give us. Oh, well.
Whoa. Hold on. Wait, Yolanda, wait. I'm glad that she said that. I want everyone on Facebook to hear how she said that. She says, what kind of financial equation did they come up with about what they wanted to give us? Listen to how she said that. She got me spinning on video. Hold on. What she said is powerful. What are they going to give us? No one has to give you anything. You're supposed to bargain. You're supposed to negotiate because we're a union. We're not a child. We should be negotiating, not what they give us, because as you know, all these contracts is what they've been giving us. We take whatever they tell us we're going to take, because they tell you in this union, the state of California is your boss. I'm the only one that tells you the state of California is not your boss. I'm sorry, Yolanda, go ahead.
People need to understand that right there. If they understand the power that we have to come together as one, then they will be working with us. But like I said earlier, what formula are they coming with to decide? How they just decided it's 6,000?
So
And any lawsuit, you want to be made whole the best way you can. And to be made whole is to give me back my 2 days that you took away for a whole month, or for a whole year. Then we start from there and see how you going to figure out this other money that you got in this fund here, which is close to $1 billion or whatever it is anyway. I don't know the total number. But then we can start another. But first of all, let's start by giving everybody back their money, because you were in surplus. You didn't have to take that 2 days out of our pay for a whole year. And then we're thinking about it another year until we found out that, hey, we know you got money, more than enough.
well, actually, hold on, Yolanda. Yolanda said we gave up money for a whole year, and we were scheduled to give up money for the next year until we found out that we had all this extra money. Actually, we didn't know about that $100 billion. What actually pushed that was the recall. That's what pushed that. But I want to go back to what she said about make us whole. She's 1,000% correct about making us whole. She said we got to come together. Listen to our problem here in Local 1000. This is where it falls on my responsibility. I have failed to motivate enough people to say, you're not removing our president. We're going to come down there. We're going to stop all this madness. We're going to put him back in office with his presidential powers. I have failed to motivate people and to encourage people to say enough is enough. That's my fault, Yolanda. I'm trying to fix it.
You got a lot of issues going on. That's understandable, but we as employees, we know what we can do. You know what I'm saying? And I know what I've been doing. So if it's just one person like myself, you know, I know other people can do that. So all these people talk, every time you talk to somebody, they always talk about, well, what do you need to do with our raises? That's all you worry about. What about other stuff? You know, strike fund or something, you know, but you're worried about your money, then get involved. Get somebody else involved. Try to look and see what the issues are, you know, and come together. Stop trying to just talk about, oh, we're going to sit back, we want to know what the raises are. You know, duh, we're just going to take whatever they give us. You know, no. Stand up, be about it, and do something. You know, start talking to people. That's the only way that we can make something change. Just like we said, you know, be radical. We need to come together. Point blank, period.
So
That's it.
So when you said that when I asked people to get on Facebook, when I asked people to tweet at the governor, many people refused. When I asked people to email the governor, many people refused. In fact, we should have got a lot more than 17,000 petitions.
Because people are lazy. A lot of people are just lazy.
Oh, so wait.
They don't want to get out there and work.
So
and sacrifice.
wait a minute. So here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm hearing you say. There's a perception that Local 1000 representative employees are lazy. That's a perception that people have. And sometimes that perception may have 10% of truth. But the other 90% is we have hard-working state employees represented by Local 1000. Is that what I heard you say?
I'm talking about laziness about people with the union, Mr. Brown. I'm
Okay.
not talking about lazy in their job. They on their job, they do their job.
Okay.
I'm saying that. I'm saying straight about the union business. Why do we have so many people paying the union and not trying to make change? How do you expect change to happen with only 3,000 people? How do you know what I'm saying? We need more people involved. You won, yes, because the people were voting that were, paying their dues. But we need more people to get involved to change things. That's what I'm talking about, being lazy, Mr. Brown.
So everyone on Facebook, what she was saying that state employees are not lazy, but when it comes to getting involved in the union, there's a perception that maybe we're not really working together and we're being somewhat slow. She's right. So here's what I want to do. I want to go to Mario, and then we'll try to wrap things up. All right, so go ahead, Mario.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, very good. Well, I agree with everything was been saying today, but I'd like to add something else though with you. Because last week I talked about trust. Okay. And I think one of the areas as to why I really like you, what is this? That is to what is the truth? What are the facts? To move this union forward, we must first know the facts, the truth. One area, for example, the essential worker pay. Facts are the federal government are their, I forgot what the program was. There's so many federal programs.
allocated $25,000 for each essential worker. That's why we got a surplus in the state of California. We have to know the numbers. We have to know the facts before we start negotiating or, and I got you, or start protesting. But that was a different issue. Because today I have another question for you, Richard. Perhaps you may know better than I do. I'm looking at this whole thing about stipends, and I know you're very much against it, which I really applaud you for. What I understand about stipends, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that stipends are measured with the highest ranking paying member of the union. And what I found out, again, I don't have all the facts in front of me, is that the stipends for the union leadership officials was actually based on critical care nurses, which is part of our bargaining units. The critical care nurses make over $100,000 a year. Thus, people like Yvonne Walker, the vice presidents, were making a salary up to $100,000. Is that correct?
No.
Or not?
No.
How does that work? The
So-
Supreme Court says double dipping and all that.
Right. So, all right. So, I'm gonna answer that question about the salary stipend. People on Facebook are asking, what can we do to get Richard back in office? You gotta email the union and tell the union that this is unacceptable. You gotta email your DLC president. If you don't know, call 866-471-7348 and ask who your DLC president is. Email your DLC president, email the union, CC me on the email, richard.brown7437.com. That's one way. Call the URC. Get the name of the person you talk at the URC. That's another way. If you really want to help me get back in office, reach out to attorneys. That's going to take a second. To get back to what Mario said, the stipend was created they came up with the idea in 2015, and it was tied to the 1,000th, listen to how I say this, the 1,000th highest paid represented employee of Local 1000. Hold on one second here. All right, because there's a lot of people are enraged because there were different ideas on how to create the salary stipend back then, and they were going to pay out a lot of money, but it was finally decided how they were going to do it. Supposedly, in one of these prior board meetings recently, they've eliminated the salary stipend. So they actually did one of my platform points, eliminate the salary stipend. And they're trying to take credit for it, even though the ones who were leading for the elimination of the salary stipend were the same people, Billy Hall, who helped establish the salary stipend to begin with. But here, let me just, hold on one second here. Because I want to read this to you, because a lot of people, so let me read this to you. I'm reading you from the policy file before they had these illegal board meetings and started trying to change the policy file and bylaws to justify their illegal actions. The president's stipend. The president shall be compensated in an amount at least equal to the 1,000th highest paid state employee represented by our union. Those are the exact words. Yes, the first time they tried to get the salary stipend was in 2011. Yes. They tabled it because it was too much controversy and too many members were making noise. They waited a few years and tried again in 2015. People were making noise and they couldn't get it passed until they had a 24-hour marathon session in 2016 to get it passed. After our contract negotiations at that time had broken down. But that's what it was. But initially, there were all kinds of numbers on how much they should pay for the salary stipend. And to be honest with you, the former president could have got paid $200,000 in salary stipend. It would have passed. it would have passed.
And that's one of the points, Rich, I'd like
Yes.
to bring up. I've been hearing a lot as a union steward now, from different people. Of course, what we say in the Army, you'll believe nothing what you hear and only trust half what you see. so, so I gotta be careful. That's why I have the conversation with you.
Okay.
Seems very honorable this kind of thing. For those, I've heard some rumors as to who voted for that stipend, and apparently people were strong on to vote for that stipend. Apparently, it's a rumor.
No. What he just said is there were some people who were strong-armed to vote for that salary stipend in 2016. That is a fact. Continue.
Okay. Again, I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt here. Okay. I guess my position is who voted for that stipend,
So,
and let's vote them out.
okay, so wait a minute. Some of those people who voted for the salary stipend are no longer there. If anyone wants to know, and I put this up on Facebook, but he's asking a great point. If anyone wants to know who voted for the salary stipend, Mr. Transparency, myself, I have the voting record. You can go to my website, Create Excellence 7437, and look under the salary stipend tab, and you'll see who voted for it. You'll see who voted for it. In fact, you can make copies of it. Yes, one quick thing, Mario. The person who is alleging that he is, quote, the chair, DLC 744 President Billy Hall, he voted for, he voted for the salary stipend, and he was one of the lead people in getting that done.
I heard that rumor.
Right.
That's a rumor.
No, that's not a rumor. That's a fact. In fact, I don't have, gosh, I'm trying to remember if I have those meeting notes from from 2016, from that board meeting, or when it was initially proposed in 2015. You'll see the initial proponents of the salary stipend. I know it was Billy Hall. I think Cindy Doyle was a name. She's DLC 790 president. But if you look on my website, I'm pretty sure it's all there.
Well,
Okay.
well, I heard.
Okay.
Again, rumors. Again, I do believe what the Army said. Don't believe anything you hear. So, I heard that even stewards were strong Army DLC presidents. And I'm not going to say the names, but this one DLC president refused to vote for the stipend because he felt it was double dipping. And lo and behold, he was voted out as a DLC president following election.
What's his?
Rumor? I don't
No.
see any names.
Well, no. We have to say people's names because we have to be transparent about this. Anybody who went.
No, I don't see anything right now. You tell me, don't listen to confidence.
Oh, okay. I'll back up. So let me say this name for you. Sophia Perkins, who ran with the Members for Transparency and Change the first time in 2018, because she had a falling out with the former President Yvonne Walker. One of those situations about the falling out was she voted no against that salary stipend.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. So when you look on my Create Excellence 7437.com website, when you go to see who voted no, you should see Sophia Perkins, bunk chair 4, unit 4, as voting no, if I remember correctly. And I think I have a pretty good memory.
You do.
So, and I'm saying her name because I'm giving her that measure of respect. Now, she's no longer a state employee. Yes, I have integrity. She is now working for the union. Yes, she's working for the union. She was hired. In fact, I did a video when I hired her. If people remember, I do. It was in the law library at Local 1000 headquarters. And she should be just about done with her probation. And she should be able now to practiced her love of labor by working for Local 1000 as a rep. And I hear that she's doing a fantastic job. And I wish her nothing but success. Because she worked almost 20 years for the state. Now she's working for the union.
I like that.
Yeah, so all these things about,
Insider.
listen, all these things that people are saying about me, these things are lies about me.
I sure wish she was working for me, but you know what I'm saying?
But Richard, in all due respect, your name never came up in this conversation. Because again,
Okay.
I want to find out the truth.
Okay.
Do my own investigation. But you confirmed this, and actually you confirmed your name. Now, you don't say anything, Richard. By you hiring this person of integrity, it gives me an idea as to how you, how do you say it, decide on character, very frankly. That's a very important component. You want to develop trust in this union, just have people of integrity.
Well, she had, you know what, it was kind of an easy hire because we need to hire more staff. We need more reps. And she had the skill base. She had the knowledge.
Well, again, like the Army says, the most important decision that an officer can make or an NCO can make is whom you hire. Okay? I'm trying to give you credit, Mr. Brown.
No. And listen, Mario, coming from the Air Force to the Army, I deeply, deeply appreciate that. And so, when I talk on these videos, people say I just say the same thing. But only those who really listen from the very beginning to the very end, they'll catch me say stuff that they never heard me say before. And I know when they catch me, because I'll get a call the next day. Hey, you said such and such. Because someone was listening. And even though it's only a few people here on Zoom, and I see only 10 people here on Facebook Live, trust me, when you go back and look later on, you're going to see a lot of views. But people don't want to acknowledge me, because if they acknowledge me like Yolanda Williams does, then they catch a lot of chaos and confusion, and they get demonized. And that's wrong.
I always believe in independent investigation of the truth. At the same time, Richard, I have confidence that the truth will come through. Okay? You know, the truth will set us free, but the Buddha also says that the truth is like the sun. You can block it out for a while, but it will come out. I got a feeling things will come out.
You know what, Mario? Here's what I'll say. The righteous truth will set you free for eternal life. Oh yes. On earth, our judicial system doesn't have a good track record for black men in America.
Well, I'm going to agree with you on that, Richard.
Okay.
The thing is, we do not have a judicial system. We have a legal system. Different.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great point. Great
A
point.
good movie to watch, by the way, a good movie to watch is Roman Israel as part. Anyway, I'll just let it go at that.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Okay, listen. So it is now 7:47. Tonight's been a different type of night. I didn't talk a whole lot about race. I didn't really talk a lot about politics. I mixed them in. But tonight it's about that money. And what do we have to do to get that money? Which means you have to get your president back into his position with his presidential powers. No one will remember me saying this. I'm telling you this. At 7:47 tonight, about the money. The race, the politics, all this confusion, it's about the money. I'll try to say it more clearly, more accurately, more distinctively, much faster. I will improve. We will get through this. And I want to thank everyone for coming on tonight. I should be doing a podcast with a gentleman. It may come Friday evening, or it may come next Tuesday evening. Or we may do two. I don't know how deep he's going to dig in my chest. I better go practice, I know that. So be prepared for a Friday evening video or a next Tuesday evening video, between 5 and 6 I'll do a Zoom with him, and then I'll go live on Facebook at the same time. I want to thank everyone tonight who came on. I want to thank everyone on Facebook. If I missed your comments on Facebook, please forgive me. My name is Richard Lewis Brown. And today is September 7th, 2022. It's been a true pleasure, and I will see you very soon. Everyone, have a beautiful night. Good night.